Are you curious about the difference in revenue share between EPIQUE Realty and EXP Realty with their Rev Share 2.0? Then you're in the right place. Let's chat. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with The Curious Agent, and I'm real excited to share with you the differences in revenue share between EPIQUE Realty and EXP Realty with their brand new Rev Share 2.0. We're going to go into that in just one moment. Before we do that, I just want to let you know that if you have any questions about EPIQUE Realty, I'm excited and happy to chat with you. Just go ahead and book a call with me down below. We'll get on a Zoom and we'll chat one-on-one. Right down below, I think it's Talk to Mike. If you click that button, you can schedule a time that works for you, and I'll just walk you through and explain what the model is, answer your questions, and see if it's a good fit for you or not. All right, let's talk about revenue share. Pretty exciting topic. Now, I'll let you know that I'm currently at EPIQUE, and I was at EXP. I was there for 3 years and 3 months, so I know a little bit about the two models, and I'm going to share with you my version of what I understand to be the two different models. I want you to know that because I may say something that's incorrect or slightly off or whatever, so you should do your own investigation just to make sure and confirm. Also, throughout time, these models change. But I'm going to share with you my understanding of the difference between the two models, and it's going to be pretty interesting, maybe a little bit of a surprise from what you think you know. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so let's dive into EPIQUE Revenue Share versus EXP Rev Share 2.0. Let's first talk about EXP and their original model before they made their change to give you a little bit of background. So this is my understanding of what they used to have, and that is they had 7 levels in their revenue share program. And on each level, I'm going to talk about the maximum you can earn per agent per level. That's the way I think it's the best to compare the two models. And so that's what's in column 2, the maximum revenue share per agent per year. And then in column 3 is what you have to do to open up or achieve that level. In the original model, and let's stick with 3 for a minute, and then we're going to go into the numbers. But column 3, the number of frontline agents to unlock. In the original model, you just had to have 1 agent. So the first agent that you recruit and any agent that you put on line 1, you're able to receive the revenue share from those folks. And in that case, what it does is it opens up the potential to earn upwards of $2,800 per agent. And that would be a full capping agent over the course of a year. So over the course of the year, you could earn $2,800 for each agent on your line 1. Now, in order to earn any revenue share on line 2, you would need 5 qualifying agents, not capping agents, but qualifying agents. And a qualifying agent, that term has been changed a little bit over time, but it basically means that there's an agent on your front line that you directly recruited who's earning X amount of money per period of time. It used to be $5,000, I believe now it's $6,000 for every 6 months. And it's a rolling 6 months. So it sounds pretty easy for an agent to earn at least $6,000 every 6 months, so $12,000 for the year. However, it's a little bit of a challenge because of that rolling part. So keep that in mind. You need to have at least 5 FLQAs on your first line in order to open up and receive the revenue share on your second line. If you're able to do that, then you would receive up to $3,200 per agent on your second line. So you're getting the idea of how this works now, right? All right, so now I'm going to pick up the speed a little bit. So on line 3, you would need 10 FLQAs on your front line that you brought in and they qualify. So you might have brought in 20 and 10 of them qualify as an example. So then you've opened up line 3 and you could receive up to $2,000 per year per capping agent. And then we go to line 4. It's 15 FLQAs are required to open up line 4. You can receive up to $1,200 for the agents on that line. And by the way, to make that clear, the agents on the line, if you don't understand, the very first line are agents that you bring in. Your second line is agents that the agents you brought in bring in, okay? And so then the second line are agents that, the third line are agents that the second line brought in, and then all the way down. All right, let's go back to where we were. And so we were sitting there, I think, at 15. On line 5, you need 20 FLQAs in order to open up line 5, and you can receive up to $800 maximum revenue share per agent on that line if they cap out. And then on line 6, you need 25 FLQAs in order to receive $2,000 on line 6. And then all the way down to the top line, which is line 7, is 40 FLQAs are required to open up that level, but it's very big. You can receive up to $4,000 per agent throughout the course of a year if they're capping. So those are like the maximum payouts that you can receive. And then in my experience, I think when I was there, the agent count got over 80,000. And so there were a lot of agents in the company. Pretty cool. Great company, by the way. A really awesome company, really ahead of its time. And in that situation, I believe I heard, and I could be wrong, but I was under the impression there are about 37 agents in the entire company that were able to open up level 7. It was very difficult to get to those 40 FLQAs. A lot of people had enough agents in their organization to see that there was revenue there, but in order to receive the maximum amount of revenue share on that line, they just had a very difficult time getting up to the 40. But that's what it is. That's what the model was. And before they made a change. And I like to think, as you're going to see in a minute, EPIQUE had something to do with the change, but I don't know. You'd have to ask the management over there why they changed. But let's keep going. The challenge they had with the challenge that EXP had with this model, EXP has been around a long time, I believe since 2009. They created this model. It looked cool. It started to work a little bit. They started to get some traction in the mid-teens. And then what they discovered as it started to ramp up quickly is it was not sustainable. In other words, what happened is they were basically paying out all of the company side of a split. So the agent gets a split, and then the company receives a split on every closing up to the cap. And what they were doing is they were basically creating a model that paid out all the money that the company was receiving. All that money was going out to the sponsors. So they discovered that it wasn't sustainable. They weren't generating enough revenue to cover all their costs because 100% of that company split, again, was going to the sponsor. And so the company was losing money, and they decided to make a change. And that's where they created the thing called the 50-50 initiative. I believe that came in at around 2019. So about 5 years ago, they brought in this 50-50 initiative. And what happened there was they basically cut the number in half. What they decided to do moving forward was for each time that the commission was split between the agent and the company would receive the split, and then the company would receive their portion of the commission, and they would cut it in half. They would keep half, that was their 50%, and then they would pay half or 50% out to the sponsors. So that was the change that they created so that they could remain profitable, and it worked. And that's what happened. The challenge, I think, for a lot of agents was, at least from the outside, is they were still being presented with this old model of what all these numbers were, and it didn't reflect the reality of what was happening inside the company as far as revenue share. You can check and verify that with someone else. That was my understanding of the interpretation and the understanding of what was going on. All right, so let's keep going. Then EXP created Revenue Share 2.0 in, I believe, early 2024. Early 2024, they created this thing called Rev Share 2.0. And basically what happened is they decided to kind of restructure the game a little bit. And I'm going to show you the biggest change that they made that people are excited about is right over here. So again, on the left side is the old model, the right side is the new model. On the new model, if you look at frontline agents to unlock, that's changed. It went from 1 to open up line 1 to 1 now opens up line 1, 2, and 3. And that was very exciting. That was very neat that they were going to offer more pay and more compensation on those lines. In addition, they made it a little easier to receive revenue share on lines 4, 5, 6, and even 7. As you can see, they reduced it from 15 FLQAs to 5 FLQAs. 20 went down to 10, 25 went down to 15, and on the 7th line, 40 went to 30 FLQAs needed to open up that line. Still very difficult to open up line 7, but they made it easier than it was in the past. Now, the other thing that they did, and I just recently saw a top sponsor, a top agent, top recruiter over at EXP. I saw a presentation he did, and that's why I'm making this presentation, because it kind of threw me that what they've decided to do, or at least he's doing, is being very transparent about what's happening. And the company is now showing the fact that they're going to pay out half of the money, not all the money. So on the right is half the money in column 2, and on the left was all the money in the original model. So what happens then on level 1 is you could earn up to $1,400 per agent per year. That's a full capping agent, whereas in the past it was $2,800. So it's about half of that. It is exactly half of that. And then on line 2, it went from $3,200, the max payout, to $1,600. It went from $2,000 to $1,000. And that's all now opened up, though, on all 3 lines, which is nice. You no longer have to have the FLQA requirements on lines 2 and 3. Now, they still have FLQA requirements in the remainder of it. However, the amounts went down, the number of FLQAs went down, and the amount of the max payout went down. I hope this is all making sense. It went from on line 4, it went from $1,200 to $600, from $800 then on the next line to $400. On line 6, it's $2,000, went down to $1,000. And line 7, the max payout went from $4,000 down to $2,000. And so that's what the model looks like today with my understanding of it. And we've explained what frontline qualified agents are. Again, you have to have an agent on your front line who's generating at least $6,000 in GCI every 6 months to the company. And they just add it up on a month-by-month basis, a rolling 6 months. And if you do, then they're frontline qualified, and those are people you've brought in, and then it would open up the additional lines. If you talk to agents over there who are doing this, the challenge is sometimes that doesn't happen in a month or 2, and then you lose the revenue from these lower lines. You don't get it. Now, what we've heard, it's also a bit of a difference, or the first time I've heard it, was that EXP is going to take the 50% they put aside for sponsors, and sometimes the sponsors on these higher levels don't get their revenue share because they'll have enough FLQAs. That money is going to stay in the pot, so to speak, and be redistributed to agents on lines 1, 2, and 3 as a bonus. So it's possible that your number in the max revenue share on these lines could be higher. It's also possible it wouldn't change, but just pointing that out, that's something I've heard, haven't confirmed it, but that's something I heard. I'm trying to help you know what the 2 models look like. So far, we're just talking about EXP and Rev Share 2.0. Let's now move on. So we've got Rev Share 2.0. I moved it to the left side so that we're going to compare it now to EPIQUE. And so now we drop in EPIQUE's numbers, and EPIQUE is super simple to understand. So this is just EPIQUE revenue share. And basically, EPIQUE just has 5 levels instead of 7. And it's the same on all 5 levels. You can receive a maximum amount of $1,500 per capping agent per year. Okay. And in order to open up any of the levels, you just need 1 agent on your front line, and they do not have to be any kind of qualifying. So as long as you have 1 agent, you have to have an agent because they'd have to bring in some revenue. So you get 1 agent on your front line, and then it opens up all the lines. So you could bring in 1 agent yourself, and that agent brings in 10 agents who bring in 50 agents who bring in 100 agents, and you get paid on all of them. Whereas on the other side at EXP, that's not true. You have to have a certain number of FLQAs to go beyond line 3. All right, so that's the side-by-side comparison. And so let's take a quick look at each line now. And so in line 1 at EXP, it's now $1,400. And on line 1 over at EPIQUE, it's $1,500. And those are the maximum amounts of revenue share per agent. And then over here on line 2, it's $1,600 for EXP, and it's still $1,500 for EPIQUE. On line 3, it's $1,000 over at EXP, $1,500 over at EPIQUE. And then on line 4, it's $600 for the max payout on line 4. And you had to have 5 FLQAs in order to receive those funds. Over at EPIQUE, you get $1,500. So it's $1,500 compared to $600. And again, you didn't have any FLQA requirements. You just get it because you had an agent there. You have at least one agent on your top line. And then over here on level 5, we've got $400 at EXP with a requirement to have 10 FLQAs. So that's the max payout per capping agent. At Epic, it's $1,500 is the max revenue share per capping agent. And again, no FLQA requirement. Now, EXP does have a level 6 and 7 where Epic does not. And Epic 6, excuse me, at EXP, level 6 would be 1,000. You would need 15 FLQAs to achieve that. And they have a level 7, which is now 2,000 max payout. However, you'd need 30 FLQAs, which, as I think you're getting the idea, it's really difficult to have that many FLQAs. People who are hitting these upper numbers that I've heard about are typically having at least double or triple that number in order to get it. So maybe they had 60 or 90 people that they brought in, and of those, maybe 30 qualified, and then they were able to achieve this level 7. So that's an explanation of side by side of what the two Rev Share programs look like. I'm going to give you some more information. So I'm going to kind of shrink those charts up and just do this. I was curious. I wanted to go and add up all these numbers in column 2. So the max revenue share per each level. If you had one capping agent on each level, how much would that total be? The total payout. That was my theory, assuming you didn't have to do an FLQA. I just added it up, and it's $8,000 over here at EXP, and at Epic, if you add it up, it's $7,500. So you can see it's very, very close, very similar at this point. Now, I'm going to do one other thing here, and that is this. I'm going to remove level 7 because level 7 is very unusual for agents to hit. And I'm trying to get to what would a typical agent or a typical recruiter receive if they were to get into these programs. And level 7 is so hard. I told you 37 people out of 80,000 achieved it. I mean, I know we all want to believe we're superheroes, but that's really hard. That's very, very low odds. So I'm going to remove level 7 just for fun and take a look. What that does is it drops the total numbers that we add up to 6,000 for each of those levels. And then Epic is at 7,500. And then I wanted to do one more quick comparison, and that was, hey, what if we did no FLQAs? You brought people in and they're earning some revenue and you're getting revenue share, but you got no FLQAs. You can't meet that FLQA requirement, or even if you can't get up to the 5. So let's just say you're not receiving that. So we're going to remove the FLQA levels. We're going to assume, and you'll see a model I show you in a minute, that maybe you weren't able to achieve that. So now what does it look like? Now the max revenue share per age column, if you add that up, it's $4,000 in these 3 areas. And over here at Epic, since there's no FLQAs, we add them all up, and it's $7,500, right? So almost double. These numbers really surprised me when I heard about them, and that's why I wanted to put it all in a chart and look at it. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I'm going to share this. And by the way, if I'm sharing these numbers and you think I'm wrong, go ahead and put them in the comments down below, and maybe we can learn together, and I'll update my model. But that's what I'm looking at right now. All right, so I want to show you a couple more pieces of info. We're almost there for this comparison to be helpful. I believe that if people come over to Epic, I'm going to share with you something, and we're going to go back to comparison. I believe that people come over to Epic, and they can do a thing that I call 2-bring-2, the 2-bring-2 formula in revenue share, and it's not as difficult as a lot of people make it out to be in this example. So let's show you what I think could happen. This example is going to be, what if every recruit, every agent comes over to Epic, just introduces 2 agents who join, okay? So here, let me give you an example. Here on line 1, you go out and bring in 2 agents. And you're probably saying, okay, Mike, but how would I even do that? I think a lot of it, what it's going to be is curiosity and people in the industry around you that have recognized that you've gone over to the company, and they start asking you about it. Your friends in the industry, and they go, hey, after you've been, let's say you join Epic, and after a month or 2, they're like, well, what does it look like over there? Is it real? Is the big catastrophe, or is everything happening that we've heard about that just seems so unreal? And let's assume you get in there, you take a look, and you agree everything looks awesome, because that's what happened to me. And you're like, yeah, everything looks awesome. Come on over and take a look. And your friend comes on over, they take a look, and they think, yeah, this might work for me, and they end up joining. I think that's how the more realistic way of this happening for the average agent is. A couple people are going to come join after they see that you're there and that you're doing well. And so that's why I'm going to say two, bring two, bring two, bring two. So on line one, you brought two. Now those two people are going to have the same experience. A couple friends are going to say, hey, what do you think about that company? You say, hey, it looks great. And they come over and join. And so the two bring two. And now on your line two, you have four. Okay. Because your two people you brought in, each brought in two. Now it's going to happen again on your line three. And basically, those four people are going to bring in two people each. So you're going to have eight on line three. Those people are going to have the same experience and they're going to bring in two. So the eight bring in two. And so you have 16 on line four. And then those 16 have the same experience and they bring in two on your line five. And so you can see that it's really growing out. Now, in reality, it's not going to be this easy, this simple that one brings two, because one's going to bring three and another's going to bring none and another one will bring four or five. But the average is, I think this is pretty realistic, that it's going to roll out that one person ends up bringing two on average. I mean, that's how the company grows. And so that's what I think the model is going to look like. Let's just play with this a little more. What do we got here now? If we add it all up, the total number of agents in here are 62 agents. Pretty cool, right? You brought in two people, and because of the way the model plays out, you end up bringing in 62. All right, so 62 people join, and then we're going to make this other assumption. When we compare models, we have to go to the maximum revenue share earned per agent per year. So we know that number at EPIQUE is $1,500. And so we'll take these 1,600 agents, and what is the rev share on that? It'd be $93,000 per year. Pretty incredible. Now that 93,000 in revenue share, we get that by taking the 62 agents times the maximum revenue share of 1,500. Now, I want you to know that I hear from people, they look at this, they go, that's really cool, but they think, all right, Mike, but are they all really going to be capping agents? The answer is, yeah, you're probably right. They're probably not. Maybe it does, but most likely it won't. What my expectation or guess is that there you will bring in capping agents. You're also going to bring in agents that just end up not closing anything for whatever reason. And you're going to get a bunch of agents in the middle. So let's just say that on average, you have a half capper. So the average of your agents is at a half cap. So if that's true, we take the 93,000, we divide by two, and we get $46,500 per year. We divide that by 12, and we get $3,875 per month. And that's why I think an agent, a typical average agent, could get upwards of $3,000 per month in revenue share by the two bring two formula, right? Finally, just keep in mind, all these numbers are best case scenario. It's not likely to be this good, right? This is really awesome. There's no guarantees that this is going to happen. You could come in and not bring in anybody, or the model doesn't work exactly like this for whatever reason, or maybe you do even better. I don't know what's going to happen. So your results will vary from this model, but you have to have something to kind of look at to get an idea of what it could potentially be. All right, so now that you understand this, we'll do our last item, which is we're going to compare EPIQUE Realty's revenue share model to EXP's revenue share. And what I see is the biggest advantage for EPIQUE Realty. All right, so again, you get paid revenue share. In this model, when you see black, you're getting paid. And when you see red, you're not getting paid. You'll understand that in just a sec. So I'm going to compare EPIQUE revenue share with EXP's Rev Share 2.0 that we were just looking at earlier. And so remember, there's no FLQA requirements for EPIQUE. EXP's new model says there's no FLQA on line one, line two, or line three, but on line four, there's 5 FLQA requirements, and on 5, there's 10 FLQA requirements. Make sense? All right, good. So we're going to go through the same model now where two bring two. If EPIQUE, you bring two, you're going to get paid on two. In EXP, you bring two, you're going to get paid on two. This is line two. You're going to get paid for 4 agents on line two at both companies. And on line three now, you will also get paid the entire line at both companies, 8 agents in both models. Where it gets different is line four. So at EPIQUE, you're going to get paid for 16 agents that were brought in. At EXP, you don't get paid for those 2 agents because there's a 5 FLQA requirement, and there's no way for you to have 5 frontline qualified agents because you only have 2 agents in total, whether they're qualified or not. It can't hit 5. And that's going to be the same for line 5. In line 5, EPIQUE, you bumped out to 32 agents that you're now contributing for you, whereas EXP, you can't receive that maximum revenue share on line 5 because you don't have the 10 FLQAs. Okay, you only got 2, and we don't even know if they're FLQA. We don't even know if they're qualified agents or not. We just know they're frontline. So you can't receive that income. So now we got to compare, what does this result in? And I went ahead and did the math for you. So we've got 62 capping agents in both models. EPIQUE would pay a maximum of $93,000 per year in revenue share. Again, that's the 62 times the $1,500 for a full capping agent. While at EXP, the 2.0 program, it would pay $17,200 per year with the same group of people. And the way we get there is the $1,400 they pay on line, $1,600 max they pay on line 2, this times the 4, and then the $1,000 max revenue share on line 3 times those 8 agents, and we add that all together, it's $17,200. And then we go ahead and subtract to find out the difference. What's the maximum payout difference? And that, in this case, is way bigger than I expected. It's $75,000 more in your pocket at EPIQUE than at EXP following this model. And again, if you disagree with me, put them down in the comments. I'd love to hear if I've got anything wrong with the model. But that's what I'm seeing, which is pretty significant amount of money. I didn't multiply it out, but what is that? Maybe, gosh, is that 4 times or 5 times more? I mean, it's a significantly more, and it all comes down to that FLQA requirement. It really kind of muddies up the waters if you're over at EXP. But remember, all these numbers are best case scenario. There's no guarantee. Your results will vary. Your results will definitely vary. This is just to look at models side by side to try to get an idea of which one would work better for you if you're interested in revenue share. Okay, so I hope that was helpful and you learned a little bit about the comparison between EPIQUE Realty and EXP Realty. If you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up if you like this and you want us to bring more information like this to you if it's helpful. If you have any comments for us or concerns or issues, go ahead and drop them down in the comments. Love to get your feedback on what you think about this. And also, if you'd like to learn more about EPIQUE Realty and whether it make a good fit for you, I'd be happy to chat with you about that. Just go ahead and go down in the notes section below and click that little link. I think it says talk to Mike. If you click there, you can get over and get on my schedule. We'll get on a Zoom call for maybe 10, 20 minutes. We'll just chat. Answer your questions and see if this is a good fit for you and see if this makes sense. All right, well, it was a pleasure to chat with you today. Again, I hope this was helpful. Hope you keep moving forward. Bye for now.